jockey standing in the gate right now.
He hasn't moved a muscle. They do have a tail on him. You know what that means. It means the starter has picked up his tail. Right now they're backing him up just a little bit just to make sure he's standing in good footing. But as you see, they have backed him out ever so slightly, put him back in and get him in a good position. But he has been good.
Okay, the 136 Kentucky Derby, 1.25 miles, a purse $2.1 million with the call. Here's Tom Durkin.
Just a couple more to load here, and there is number 20, Sidneys Candy, who's going to have to beat 19 horses to his inside. He's got a bad post position out there, and post position number 20. He's also going to have to beat an off track this afternoon. The final horse to move into line for the 136th run for the Roses. Field is standing in remarkably good order. Final horse is in, ready for the start. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. American Lion SB. There goes Conveyance. He's looking for speed on the outside. Looking at Lucky. He had to stop on the brakes in the early going. So it's Conveyance. Super Saver to his inside. Here comes a pumped up Sidneys Candy on the outside as they make their move headlong for that critical first turn. Conveyance leads. On the outside, Sidneys Candy is second. Lion of David is third. Mission Impazible fourth. Discreetly Mine up there close. Fifth on the outside. Super Saver, Calvin Borel, and they are glued to the rail. Moving into the turn, they're running in sixth. Noble's Promise is now seventh and moving through between horses. American Lion is eighth on the far outside into the clubhouse turn. And then it's Jackson Ben now running in ninth. The filly, Devil May Care, is 10th and in between horses. Paddy OPrado is now 11th toward the rail. Back Talk is now running in 12th position. Dean's Kitten is now 13th down toward the inside. On the far outside, Homeboy Chris is 14th. Dublin runs in 15th position. Awesome Act still well held from that pace up front. He's now running 17th on the outside. And down toward the rail, it's Stately Victor, a break of 3. Back to looking at Lucky. He's about 20 lengths from the lead now with 5 furlongs to go. Then Icebox and Longshot Make Music for Me. The field down the backstretch run. A grueling half mile in the watery going here, 46 seconds flat. And Conveyance leads the field into the far turn. He leads it now by a length. Sidneys Candy is on the chase, running in second. Noble's Promise. Noble's Promise rallies now through toward the inside third. Super Saver is fourth. He's still down inside, but Super Saver's now starting to move. There's the filly Devil May Care, and she's making a bold run on the far outside, moving toward the leaders. Paddy OPrado is trying to thread his way through now, and doubling there on the far outside as the field turns for home. Noble's Promise has the lead. Super Saver down on that fence. Now he's in front. Super Saver, Calvin Borel, 1 furlong from the Derby here. Noble's Promise runs in second. Paddy OPrado is now third. Make Music for Me. Big long shot now fourth on the outside, and they're coming down to the finish. And it is Super Saver. A late run from Icebox, but it's Super Saver and Calvin Borel, the unflappable Calvin Borel, riding that rail to victory once again in the Kentucky Derby. Icebox and Paddy OPrado.
Calvin Borel strikes again. He looked as if he had tears in his eyes when he came on the track on Super Saver and they played My Old Kentucky Home. He has such genuine emotion, as we saw when he won on Street Sense and last year on Mind That Bird. He went back to the rail and he got it done again, this time on Super Saver, as the $100,000 green bet will be cashed.
And Tom, I was watching this horse down the backstretch. Calvin had him exactly where he had Mind That Bird. He was a lot more forwardly placed, but in the garden spot, right on top of the rail, the exact same as he was before.
What did Todd Pletcher say to me? He said, when he rides at Churchill Downs, Calvin Borel is a superstar, and Calvin has just given Todd Pletcher his first Derby victory. There he is. All right, Donna has a familiar face. Calvin Borel.
Calvin, no jockey in the history of horse racing has ever won 3 of 4 derbies consecutively. What is your secret?
We got to keep that to ourselves, baby. No, I've been very blessed, baby. Following the right horses at the right time, you know. Knowing what I know about horses, baby, helps me a lot. Being out here 7 days a week, watching horses train, I think helps a lot. I thought this horse was just peaking at the right time, and you know what? I'm going to win the Triple Crown this year.
Calvin, let me talk to you about the trip. This horse has only won 2 races. They were both on the lead throughout. You were not on the lead this time. What was your strategy going in? Did it work out the way you wanted?
Perfect. Walked in there, he told me, he said, Calvin, he's yours. Ride him like you own him. And that was it. And I knew from there I had him where I wanted him. Last race, I finally got him off the pace like I wanted, and he relaxed good, so I knew I could take him back a little bit.
So you felt like in the last race you learned something about him that helped you win this race?
Yes, ma'am, a lot, because when I went on him before, he was on the lead all the way. But that last race, when I took him back a little bit, it helped me. I learned a lot about him.
Even though you didn't win, you learned a lot about him?
Yes, ma'am, I sure did.
Well, this is your your 3rd Kentucky Derby win. It gives Todd Pletcher his 1st Kentucky Derby win. How do you feel about getting that for Todd?
I know where you're coming from. A lot of hard work, little brother.
You seem a little less emotional than you normally are. I mean, you're so used to winning the Kentucky Derby at this point. Is it old hat now?
No, it never gets old, Sudie. It's just, it's finally paid off, and I'm just happy to be here.
Did you take your normal trip, the shortest way around there on the rail?
Shortest way around, baby, like my brother always told me.
Were you on the rail throughout?
Throughout. I went around one, Sudie.
Around one horse?
Yeah, turn for home.
Well done, Calvin, as always. You definitely have it figured out. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Well, he's finally broken through, and Todd Pletcher, is this as much joy or relief for you right now?
It's joy, I mean, everyone kept saying we had one with our name written on it. I didn't take anything for granted, but it feels awfully good.
You mentioned Borel again. How can this guy do it?
Like I said earlier in the week, he's a great rider everywhere, but he's 5 lengths better at Churchill. He just, he just knows his track so well, and it's a huge edge to have him.
With all the talk about, losing and 0 for 24, did it really gnaw at you as the weeks went on, Todd?
Not as much as everyone else, made a big deal out of it. I mean, I thought we've done a good job, and, our record starts to look a little better today.
What does it say about the sport where Escondrea was your #1 horse? Everybody in the world thought he was the favorite, and yet you win the Derby, not with Escondrea, but with Super Saver.
Well, I mean, we're just fortunate, that we had some really nice 3-year-olds, and, even some of the other ones that didn't win today are nice horses, but, we'll always think what if with the other horse, but, we love this.
Congratulations, Todd. That's Todd Pletcher, Super Saver. He's finally broken through.
And Calvin is soaking it in once again in the WinStar Farm colors of Kenny Trout and Bill Kasner. A 3-year-old colt by Marias Mon from Supercharger by AP Indy, bred in Kentucky by the owners, WinStar Farm, as Calvin Borel makes history, the only jockey ever to win the Kentucky Derby 3 times in a 4-year span.
Way to go, Todd. Way to go. Way to go.
Well, looking at Lucky, had a horrible trip, right, Gary?
Yes, he did. From the first stride, we saw that where that rail comes out as they leave the starting gate, and look how Garrett Gomez gets pressed into the fence. He actually broke very well, but he squeezed back right here. Garrett says, okay, I'll take the next best place. Well, he gets back up in here. This horse directly on his outside really squeezes him up, and from that point on, with over 1 mile and 3/16 left in the race, his race is over with. Now, Calvin Borel, in the meantime, this is a ½ mile from home right now. He's already laid up against the fence, identical to where he was with Mind That Bird, and as he says, like with Mind That Bird, last year he came around 1 horse. That was it, just 1 horse back to the fence, back to where Calvin likes it best. That was the fastest place on the track here for the last 3 or 4 races. At the same time that he was making that move around 1 horse, that was Paddy OPrado that was steadying back behind your eventual winner, Super Saver, right there. But the ease with which Noble's Promise wins this after the ground-saving trip, very easy, Tom.
There you see Icebox with a late run getting 2nd, and Paddy OPrado 3rd, and Todd Pletcher, wow, he was so tired of hearing 0 for 24. He's never won a Derby, And Glenn Fullerton placed a $100,000 green bet and cashes.